Paul, joined by the party. How's everyone doing tonight?
Fantastic. Glad to be here.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I'm okay, I guess.
What's up?
I'm however Clara is. Yeah.
All right. We're back for another week. We got recap we did too. Does anyone have anything to plug at this time that they want to shout out?
Hannah's TikTok, because she shouted out us last time. At Duff the Unicorn. She is fabulous and fun, and she'll make your day happy. That is all.
Can confirm all of those things she just said.
Absolutely.
And he's not at all biased because he's her husband.
Not at all. It's corroborated here by, I think, those.
Yep. Hannah is a joy and a light, and she loves you, and you're wonderful.
If you ever have a hankering for fruit snacks and emotional support dinosaurs, head that direction.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, who doesn't?
Right?
Everyone can use fruit snacks and emotional support dinosaurs.
She gave me an emotional support rat, which is pretty rad.
That is awesome.
I got emotional support Stegosaurus. American fag.
Well, I'm gonna get an emotional support. I'm gonna get an emotional support something at Billy's badass St. Billy's Day party. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Hannah, I'm coming.
Will do.
Yay.
That should be a good time.
Vaccinated as fuck.
Fuck yeah. Good, I feel like I haven't seen you in 4.5 years.
You have to show Hannah this plug, because this is probably my favorite plug.
Oh, I will. She will hear it.
We'll get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Chris, how can anybody find the tavern on Facebook?
Boy, am I glad you asked. Facebook.com/group/the Tavern D20. Nice little community of about 1,200 people sharing memes and just talking about D&D and what we love about it. And we don't fucks with gatekeepers, so that's nice.
Yeah.
D&D is growing and evolving, and gatekeepers should be left behind.
No Karens.
Leave them at the gates.
Clutch them pearls somewhere else.
Karens are fine in D&D if, they're expendable NPCs. All right, anything else anybody wants to plug? Shout out to my Twitter, twitter.com/SamsonPaul, and I just recently made a TikTok at SamsonPaul. So that's a new thing that I've been learning. A lot of fun.
On it.
I guess I'll follow you.
Thanks for the support. I highly appreciate it. Anyway, I guess we can jump right into the recap. We pick up from last week. Let's see, where did we start last week? Last week we started in the Dwarven Valley, where a few, let's see, unfortunately, but I'll fix that in post. But started in the Dwarven Valley when the group was investigating the whereabouts of where exactly the shipment that they had procured needed to be delivered to. The surface area town seemed to be a little ghost towny, I guess you would say, abandoned a little bit, and they found this mine shaft that they found their way down, and they discovered a half-elf having a discussion with a dwarf at the door trying to gain entrance, and after a little bit of trepidation and discussion about what's going on, found their way down, discussed with the dwarf that they had their shipment to come in, and the half-elf introduced himself as Lek Churlong and came in and under the wings of primarily Andy, who vouched for him as they entered this little dwarven establishment under the ground. Made the delivery of goods to the blacksmith and found shelter for the night from the elements above in a small tavern, the Leaking Anvil, and it leaks if you get it hot enough, as we found. And in the Leaking Anvil, they found the dwarf that they had met on top of Calvin's cairn, and was able to procure food and drink for the night, though very minimal, as they did not have much to offer. They found that the Dwarven Valley was going through some hard times, and were depending on this shipment to be able to turn around into weapons and shields to be able to trade for food, since above ground they haven't had any success maintaining any any grains that are growing, or even going into fishing. They weren't having any luck, so they were able to help the town out that way, and their future got a little brighter with this delivery. After a little bit of getting to know each other with the new party member, and morning eventually coming, the party left the Dwarven Valley and headed back to Bryn Shander to inform Sheriff Markham of the delivery. And upon entering Bryn Shander, met a tiefling named Silas, who encountered Andy and Carcass, and talked for a little bit before following them back to the tavern to get to know each other a little bit more. And Silas met the rest of the party, and that is where Zizix got the idea that perhaps it might be a good idea to head out and try to break something. Sorry about that, Chris. Apparently it broke the link. Send that to me in a DM and I'll paste the link in there. To go out and try to scavenge for something that was not knucklehead trout, as Zizix's patience for knucklehead trout has grown to its pinnacle and is over. So everyone except for, I believe, Vega and Eclipse went out to go hunting, and alongside with the guidance of a trapper, tried to find themselves some game to hunt, but they apparently were the hunted as they crept over the hill and downwards and tried to track a sound. The trapper himself actually caught an arrow to the neck, stabilized by Andy almost immediately. But a battle ensued with the barbarians that were roaming around, doing who knows what. And I believe one barbarian was downed, and that was enough to cause them to initiate the retreat. And that is where we pick up. As the barbarians are retreating, with the trapper stabilized on the ground with still an arrow in his neck, I believe, struggling to breathe, and I don't think anybody in the party is downed or overly hurt, but it showed a lot of the new party members, their capabilities. Silas was able to turn invisible and relinquish a shockwave from out of nowhere to push all the barbarians back.
And Andy.
And Andy, yes. And Lek Sherlong was able to fight his way down, shooting Eldritch Blast after Eldritch Blast, and just pinning and striking these barbarians from a distance with great ability. So, we pick up at night in the snowy wilderness, with the barbarians having made their retreat and are about they would be about 120 feet away from Andy, putting them about 150 away from everyone else. So what would everyone like to do at this point?
Silas would like to look.
I think, after all that hard work, I deserve a pat on the back. I cast Mage Hand and pat myself on the back.
I'm more curious why we let them go.
Why not? They weren't attacking us anymore.
Yes, but they'll attack us again, or someone else. You really want to let that kind of filth continue to walk these lands?
Everyone does what they need to do to survive. We defended our own.
Yes, and we were the stronger ones. Logic dictates that they should not have walked away.
Perhaps it would be a waste of time to go trekking through the snow to find more of these barbarians when we might have more important ways to spend our time.
I suppose that does bring up a bit of a point, but still.
Stabbing a man in the back has never sat right with me.
Stabbing a man in the back is sometimes the best thing that you can do. Ensures that you keep your enemies away from you.
I suppose if it's worth it to you.
I'm
I
gonna go
don't
help
know.
the trapper.
Yeah,
Sorry, what was that, Nick?
of course.
I'm gonna go help the trapper while everybody's commentating.
Yeah, so he's on the ground still. He's got his hand kind of applying pressure to the wound, and he looks to you as you start to approach, and he says, "It looks worse than it is. I think. I think the bleeding has stopped."
Andy will call out when she hears him talking and say, you might not want to say too much while it heals up.
That's fair. So what would you like to do?
I would like to go ahead and cast Cure Wounds on him, give him a little bit more of a patch on that.
Okay, easy enough. Go ahead and roll for that.
That will give him 6.
Okay, very nice. And you see him starting to continue to hold down the wound, but you see that the color starts to return to him. He's less pale, and it looks like he's starting to regain some composure. But he's staying on the ground until this arrow can be successfully removed from his throat.
I thought I did remove it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Okay, so he starts to check it and have the arrow been removed last session. You see there's kind of like a scar tissue that's, or a scab that's already created a form, and his voice still sounds raspy when he speaks, but he speaks and says, "Thank you all very much. I think there's a reason why I check my traps in the morning."
Yeah, we should probably get you back to the inn.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Agreed.
Where it's warmer. Apologies, I'm not used to the cold yet.
What, are you new here?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Oh, why the hell would you come here?
That is a question, my friend, I'm beginning to ask myself, but I have a job to do, I guess is the easiest answer.
And so, with that, are you guys ready to embark back to town?
Sure.
Yes.
With the trapper kind of indisposed, even though he's been cured, he still doesn't want to lead the way. Who would like to take point on their way back to town?
I can.
Okay. Go ahead and make a survival check.
Uh, 22.
You make your way back over the hill from whence you came, and you can easily pick up on the tracks that you guys yourselves had left, and start yourself on the path out of the wilderness and towards Bryn Shander. With it being kind of in middle of the night still, the the stars still hidden behind the dark overcast of the sky, you can still briefly make out the silhouette of Bryn Shander in the distance. And after some time and some travel, you guys make your way back to the north gates. You guys make your way into town. Are you heading towards the end, just to clarify?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So, you make your way back to the inn, where it's still pretty lively. There is a number of people still up, still drinking. The rush isn't as bad as it was earlier. It seems to have died down ever so slightly. It's still pretty busy, and no one really takes notice of all of your entries. What would you guys like to do?
I would like to approach the tracker and say, "Dear friend, it seems as though a thought has popped into my mind, so I hope you do not mind if I speak it honestly."
Yeah, go ahead.
It occurs to me that you likely would have died had we not been there to save your hide. I hope you're willing to repay our companionship, perhaps by giving us a room for the evening.
I suppose I owe you guys at least that. 1 second. And he starts to make his way from the party, and he counts up how many people are there and walks over to the barkeep. They have a conversation, and he looks back and points over at you guys. An exchange of currency is had. And then he makes his way back over and he says, I managed to get 3 more rooms for you guys. I did you one better than just one.
Oh, thank you. You didn't have to do that.
Oh, well, I'd be dead if it wasn't for you in particular. It was so quick to act.
Well, you're welcome to that any time. No need for repayment.
Your kindness and loyalty, though, will be appreciated and remembered.
And he bows his head to you. He's like, and he says, well, if there's not anything else I can do, besides show my appreciation, I think I better get on home and see my wife.
Yes. I'm glad you made it in okay.
And he nods towards you and makes his exit out of the tavern and into town. That leaves you guys sitting inside of a fairly busy tavern, and it's late into the night at this point. What would you like to do?
What a dreadful hunter he was.
Oh, I don't
Well,
know. It's awfully snowy.
He did realize what was happening a moment before he got shot. Give him some credit.
I don't believe in partial credit.
Are you a cynic, my friend?
Cynicism is the only thing that truly makes sense.
I suppose I can understand that sentiment.
Well,
Good.
on that note, I'm going to bed. Good night. And Andy will kind of head up to one of the rooms.
As will I.
Sleep well, Adriana.
It's Andy.
Right, well, I've had enough excitement for the evening. I think I shall turn in as well. Farewell.
Lek, would you mind terribly if I shared your room with you for the evening?
No, not at all. Always happy to court a fellow cynic.
I think you and I will get along swimmingly.
I think we are of the same mind in that.
Silas will head on up to Lex's room.
Right. You guys make your way into your respective rooms. Andy, you'll enter one of the new rooms as well as everyone else. Zizek's probably going to tag along with Lysander. Carcass, who do you feel like bunking up with tonight?
I'm just going to sit at one of the tables out here, and I will be happy to just nod off here.
Okay. Very good. And that can happen. I don't think anyone's going to disturb a sleeping Minotaur in fear of waking up a very fearsome creature from a much-needed sleep. So, let's go ahead and see. Vega and Eclipse have been resting this time. You guys will actually arise first. And as you guys get ready and get up from your rooms and get ready to head out for maybe a breakfast or just to meet everyone in the middle of the room of the tavern, you spot Carcass sitting at a table by himself. You want to describe how you're sleeping if you have something in particular in mind?
Yes, I am just kind of slumped to the side with my mouth just gaped wide open, little bit of meat hunks probably still falling out from where they are partially chewed and stuck into my teeth.
Yum.
So you two see Carcass sleeping all alone out here in the middle of the tavern. What would you like to do?
Vega will share a look with Eclipse, like, oh, that's so fucking sad. But he'll let him keep sleeping for now and go find a table near him, but not like his table, and order some breakfast.
An Eclipse?
Yeah, she's just gonna follow behind Vega and get breakfast too.
All right. There's a man manning the table at this point, and he greets you all, and he says, "Good morning. What can I get you guys?"
Oh, just 2 plates of breakfast for this morning, please. And she'll gesture towards Carcass and say, "Has he been here all night?"
He's been here since I got on shift, which was 4 or 5 hours ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, 2 plates for breakfast coming right up. And he puts the order back into the kitchen, and he looks back and he says, "Anything to drink with that?"
Is coffee a thing here?
No, not in this region.
That's what I was afraid of.
I'm imagining that Vega's having flashbacks of taking the firewater through his trunk and immediately feeling it as much as he did last night.
You know, I think just a water for me, friend.
Same for me.
All right, very well. That'll be 6 silver and 2 copper altogether.
Alright, I'll take care of it.
Well, thank you.
Of course, of course.
And you guys easily find a table. The tavern is fairly empty at this point. There's a few people coming in for breakfast as well.
For the record, I'm just going to give him a gold.
Okay, thank you. And he will thank you. And within about 5 to 10 minutes, you guys have food served out to you, and you got your nice cold waters. And Everything looks pretty good. It's a plate of knucklehead trout, of course, and looks like there's a few eggs on these plates, so a little bit of variety here. And he brings your food to the table, and he says, "If there's anything else, just let me know."
Thank you very much.
And he kind of walks over towards Carcass, and kind of puts his arm on his shoulder and kind of pushes him back to be upright as he's slumping a little bit too far to the left for his comfort, thinking he might fall over. He does it fairly gently, but if you would like to see if he wakes up, you're more than welcome to. Well, that would be a stealth check. Yeah, he does it pretty subtly, so you don't particularly notice.
Yes, I imagine a small shove would not wake me up.
All right. So, what would you guys like to do during your time over breakfast? Anything?
Just chill.
Yeah, just eating my breakfast.
Sounds good. And everyone else starts to arise, and you guys make your way also out to the tavern, and you see Carcass still sleeping in middle of the table, just slightly leaning towards one side, mouth open and agape. But you also see Vega and Eclipse finishing their breakfasts and drinking from a few mugs as you guys make your way in. The bartender will call out to you guys as you make your entrance, and he says, "Can I get you guys some breakfast?"
Sure, and I'll take 2 extra for him, and she'll point at Carcass.
All right.
And then for me, thank you.
I just have eggs and a hunk of bread and some tea.
We can make some tea work. Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I do believe eggs and some tea sound delicious as well.
All right. So all together, he says that'll be about 8 silver.
I'm just gonna hand him another gold and say, "Would you actually bring me a tea as well?"
Sure.
Oh, thank you, Vega.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, good sir.
Oh, of course.
And where do you guys want to sit? Do you want to sit around Carcass or join Eclipse and Vega at your table?
I'll sit with Carcass.
Which table smells better?
The one that the Minotaur's not sitting at.
That's the one I'll sit at.
All right. Carcass always has a very rank stench about him. So after a while, you guys are also served your breakfast to order, and when he brings out the tea, you notice a very fragrant pine sort of scent coming from it, and each mug of warm tea seems to be garnished with what looks like a tiny pine cone.
Oh, that's adorable.
As you lift and you taste the tea, it's very fragrant. It's almost like they just dropped pine oil into it. It's kind of like spearmint, but not really.
Sounds delightful.
It's certainly not traditional.
No, not
No.
quite, but
Andy will kind of nudge Carcass and say, "Carcass, breakfast."
Oh. Okay, I could eat breakfast.
And she'll push 2 plates in front of him and say, "Did you sleep out here last night, Carcass?"
Yes, Carcass sleep at table.
Why?
Oh, I do not have the best of friends anymore.
But you've got plenty friends, Carcass. We're all your friends.
Oh, yes, you all met be Carcass friends.
You're always welcome to share the rooms with us, Carcass. You don't have to sleep at the table.
Oh, okay. I will remember that for later.
Okay. And she'll nudge his plates towards him again, so he'll get to eating.
Yes, and I will open my bag and reach in and rummage around until I find my special fork so I can eat the breakfast.
Yeah, easy enough.
Vega's at my table, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I am.
Vega, we had a bit of an exciting evening last night. Could you remind me where is it we're heading today? Is it Goodmead?
That is hopefully still the plan.
Very good. And shall we be leaving shortly?
I would like to, once we're all done with breakfast.
All right. That will work quite well for me. Very good.
What did you said you had an exciting evening last night. What happened?
Well, Zizix had the idea to go hunting, and we decided to join him. We were hunting, once again, forgive me, I'm not from around here. The one great cat that's local to these parts.
Oh, a crag cat?
Yes, the crag cat. We hired a tracker to help us, track one, and we wound up being tracked by some barbarians, and we had a bit of a tussle.
Oh, well, glad you're all right. And sorry I missed it. I guess.
Oh yes, we had it well in hand. Our tracker friend took an arrow to the neck, but Andy was very apt in taking care of him, so he made it out okay.
Well, good. I am glad to hear that.
All right. So you guys finish your breakfast and put down yet another meal full of knucklehead trout and eggs. Drink your tea and you prepare yourselves for journeying back out into the cold, inevitable, winterous conditions that you find yourselves in the area of 10 towns. Where would you guys like to go?
Well, I'm hoping Goodmead is still the plan.
I thought it was. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where the next job is. That's where work is. So we should go to it.
All right. You guys gather up your things and head out to town and start heading south towards the direction you would leave town to head east. The guards open up the gates and they greet you guys on your departure and hope that you travel safely. And as you guys make your way out of town, you start to head towards the crossroads, the junction in the middle, and you reach the fork, and it says Goodmead to the south, Caradinival to the north, and East Haven continuing to the east. Make your right, and you start heading south towards Goodmead. Seems to be a fairly busy day with the wintry conditions not being as fraught. And you see a few merchants passing here and there. You see one wagon full of baked goods that passes by, and another of just seemingly a few people looking for work seem to be migrating towards one of the larger towns. As Vega and Eclipse well know, Goodmead is a fairly small town of about maybe 100 people. Pastry lady's, no, it's not the pastry.
Damn it! I love her.
Why would you
DM.
dash our hopes like that?
DM, if possible, Silas would love to flag down the pastry cart.
Sure. And they pass
Moment of
by and
truth.
they wave you down and say, "Can I help you?"
Perhaps. That depends on what kind of goods you have here.
Huh?
What are you selling?
Would you like some pastries?
Yes, I would. What do you have? Do you have something sweet? Do you have a loaf of bread? What can I take off your hands?
Huh? You did on stream. Huh?
You broke up a bit. I just heard ah, and that's about it.
Would you like some pastries?
Is Mike hates it when he does a high voice?
Yes, I would absolutely love some pastries. Do you have bread? Do you have muffins? What can I buy from you?
And she reaches into her wagon and she pulls out this copper-plated tray, and you see that it's filled with pastries with the red center.
Okay. Would I recognize these pastries at all?
You would probably place them as some sort of Danish variety, some sort of fruity center.
All right. How many do you have, and how much do they cost?
What?
How many can I buy from you, and what is the amount?
3 silver?
Is that per pastry or for all of them?
Huh?
Listen, you old bag, is it per pastry? Is it for every single one?
Whoa, Silas, calm down. She's just a little deaf.
That's why I raised my voice.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, can you speak up?
Let's make a deal. If you have a single loaf of bread and all of these pastries, I will give you 1 gold and you can escape into a hole!
1 gold?
Yes, a single gold for your troubles.
And she places the very, very shakily places the pastries on the wagon and starts getting out a little sack, and she's just divvying it up, and she gives you 4 pastries and then hands you a bag and has her arm extended out as if to ask for the gold in payment.
Do you happen to have a loaf of bread?
Huh?
Do you have a loaf of bread?
Do I have a lot of bread?
I'm getting nowhere. I'll just hand her gold and take the pastries and move on my way.
I love her.
Lek leans over to Vega. I'd be concerned with where she gets her yeast.
Yeah, Vega laugh.
Andy's gonna look back at Vega and say, "What?"
Oh, don't worry about it.
Andy will shrug and keep going.
I
Can't believe I gave that woman a gold.
And this woman continues to each one of the party, and she brings back her copper tray, and she's shaking from the cold and says, "Would you like some pastries?"
Andy's just gonna hand her a gold.
And she starts to get another burlap sack and starts putting 4 pastries into a bag and says, "Here you go."
Thank you.
And then she goes
Will,
to Eclipse next.
yeah. Eclipse will do the same. She'll give her a gold.
And she'll take the gold and she'll look around very confused and start scratching her head, and she says, "I can't find my bags!" And start looking through the wagon, trying to find another sack.
I can just take them if it's easier. I don't need a bag.
Don't call me a hag!
I would
This old hag
never.
already has a foot in the grave.
What do you mean I'm very brave?
Yeah.
And she just looks very frustrated at this point that she's doesn't have a bag. She's been called a hag, but the tiefling is calling her brave, so she's having very many mixed emotions at this point. And she kind of furrows her brow at Eclipse and hands her 3 pastries for her gold.
That's okay.
Lek just starts walking down the road.
Hold on. Did she receive 1 less pastry for her gold?
Yes.
That absolutely will not do. I would like to shake down the old bag.
How would you like to do this?
Yay! It's fine, I promise.
I don't think anyone's treated pastry lady like this before.
Listen,
Lek yells
this
down the road.
exquisite... This
Are we
exquisite
going to good
creature
mead or
paid
not?
you.
I'm sorry, you guys were both talking at the same time. Go ahead, Chris.
I'd like to grab the pastry woman by the collar and look her in the eyes and be like, "Excuse me, I believe you owe us an extra pastry."
What?
She paid you a gold, you gave her 3. You gave me 4, you gave the other one 4. How come she got 3?
Andy's gonna say, "Look, I'll take care of it." And Andy hands Eclipse an extra pastry from her bag.
No, Adriana, I will not have you giving charity. This is about principle here.
No. Just leave her be. She's old.
Yes, I'm very cold.
See?
Lek yells, "Are we going to good mead or not?"
Let's go to Goodmead. And Andy's gonna give Silas a pat on the back as if to try to usher him on forward.
Silas will release the old woman, give her a little bit of a shove before kind of fixing his own coat and moving on.
With that deck save, just even for the slightest, she trips over her own feet and topples to the ground, and her pastries from her copper plate fly into the air and land all around her. And in this thick, heavy winter clothing, you see her kind of whirling around, trying kind of like a turtle on its back, trying to get up. Just, I'm falling!
Andy's gonna pause and help her up and hand her 10 gold.
Silas would like to take one of the pastries off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. She's not going to see it. She's nearly blind, too, at this age.
I do believe this is the pastry that you were owed. And I'll hand it over to Eclipse.
Oh, why thank you. I didn't want to say anything since she's already hard of hearing, but thank you anyways.
And Andy's just gonna kind of help the old woman get to her feet and help her pick up her tray and, that sort of thing, and then give her the 10 gold and head back to the group.
Thank you. I'm trying to pay off my daughter's debt to Bard College.
You're welcome.
And she very slowly starts putting her tray back onto the wagon, and her 4 dogs that are with her, and starts to pull the wagon a little bit. And, she gets back on, and she starts to slowly ride away while on the dog sled.
I'd just like to flip her the bird as we continue to walk away.
Absolutely.
Andy's gonna say, Silas.
What? Am I in trouble, Adriana?
You shouldn't treat little old ladies like that.
She's already got a foot in the grave. If anything, I was doing her a favor.
No, that just means you should be kinder to her.
I'm sorry, what? No. That's
How
not
would
this
you
works.
like to be treated when you're old enough to have a foot in the grave?
I would like to think someone would put me out of my misery.
I'm sure someone will.
Perfect. I look forward to seeing them in 200 years.
Physics is gonna go. Ooh.
Zizix, are you okay?
Almost never.
I'm fine. But you two have issues.
Yes. I'm afraid Adriana smells the pedigree on me.
Don't flatter yourself. I haven't sniffed you. She's going to keep walking.
And Zizix is gonna go again. Ooh. Meow.
Eclipse, how do you respond to that slander?
She's gonna step up slightly behind Zizix and just kind of smack him upside the head before moving on.
All right. Anything else you guys would like to do as the pastry lady is slowly riding away?
Silas might turn around once or twice as if he's gonna go back before just giving up on it.
All right. Very good. And Lek is about a half mile down the road.
I'm with Lek, by the way.
Okay. Very good. You wanted none of the pastry lady?
I would have been walking with Lek too.
Oh, you guys don't like the pastry lady? Okay. I see how it is.
I love the pastry lady, but Vega doesn't really care about her.
So,
I just think we gave her enough of our time.
all right. So, continuing down the road south towards Goodmead, you guys burn up most of your daylight getting there, and as you start to approach, and town is about 300 feet away, you see that the town is completely dark. There are no lights, there are no torches, nothing.
Ruh-roh.
I turn to Lysander. Is this typically how small towns prepare for the night?
I don't think so. Not where I'm from, anyway. I'm gonna turn to Vega and ask, does this town participate in Oral's rituals?
Not with a blood sacrifice. No. Their sacrifice.
Pardon, did you say oral rituals? I just want to clarify. Oral rituals?
Step off.
Oh, just making sure.
This town presents their sacrifices by way of sacrificing warmth and comfort.
Oh. I see.
And word of warning, Oral does not like whenever her name is made fun of.
Yeah, I made a blowjob joke about her name and almost lost an ear. So just watch it.
Well, I most assuredly would not want my ears to be injured, so I will bear that in mind.
She is touchy.
Who is she to you and your and our party?
The reason it's so shitty and cold up here, I guess.
She's the one that makes it cold?
She is the one responsible for this frozen hellscape.
Oh. Is she some kind of powerful enchantress?
That's one way to put it.
I see. And she's in good mead?
She's everywhere.
She's the power that everyone in all of these towns is making sacrifices to try and end this winter.
I see. Good to know.
In fact, the town that we came from had a lottery where they would draw a random citizen that they would sacrifice to her, where they would leave them tied up naked in the cold.
Oh. Oh my. Is there a certain area she is said to reside in around these parts?
It's unclear, but I believe that I did see her one night back in Caradinaval a few days ago. She took the form of a gigantic bird and seemed to be responsible for the snowstorm that came in behind her.
I see.
But we will have to find that out as we go along. For now, we have a job to do here.
Very good.
But you are asking the right questions, my friend.
Excellent. Glad to know I'm starting to get on the same page as all of you.
I nod as we continue walking.
You guys make your way into the town of Goodmead. Vega and Eclipse, having been here for quite a while, are familiar with this area. You walk past the the row of residential areas that are all just unlit, dark. You hear no sounds coming from them whatsoever. And you continue down and make a left at the junction and near the middle of town, and you find yourselves not sure on where to go next. Actually, Vega and Eclipse, go ahead and make intelligence checks.
Nat 20.
Well, that's good because I got a nat 1.
Yeah, Vega can't remember for some reason where everyone goes during these sacrifices, but Eclipse knows immediately. They make their way down to the mead hall, and they all huddle up together as a whole town.
We should head to the mead hall if we want to find anyone. They're all gathered there to keep warm from each other.
That sounds like a splendid idea.
So Eclipse leads the way south. You see the edge of the lake ahead. You see the dock and row of boats that have kind of caught a nice bit of frost on the sails, just kind of floating there with the undercurrent pressing the ships up and down, but not so much side to side as the surface is pretty much frozen solid. And then you start to hear a little bit of noise as you draw closer to the mead hall, and on your right you see that the door is shut tight. There are many garments, linens, I guess would be more accurate to say, piled up against the doors. You see the windowsill is lined with blankets and everything. Anything they can try to do to insulate the heat. And find yourselves in front of the door of the mead hall. What would you like to do?
I say we go inside and quickly be it, so we don't.
Well, I would suggest knocking before we go in, to warn them about the cold. I mean, so as not to just let a bunch of cold in without warning. So I'm gonna go up and knock.
Okay. And you knock on the door, and you hear it kind of go quiet, and you start to hear whispers coming from inside and movement, and quickly the door opens, and he says, "Come in, come in."
And I will make my way in very quickly and motion for everyone to do the same.
I'll follow.
As will I.
I will go in.
And everyone
Yeah,
makes
that's-
their... Oh, sorry.
No, that's all. I was just saying, yeah.
And scene.
So everyone makes their way inside, and those with dark vision are able to see quite clearly that there seems to be at least 75 to 90 people just packed into this mead hall. Everyone covered in their heavy winter clothing and huddled quite close together as I mean, they're packed already as it is for a mead hall of this size. And they look up at you and the new people who've just entered, and the man who opened the door, Elror, says, Vega, Eclipse, it's been a while. And this is a half-elf that you've known for a little bit here in town. As you guys have been staying here, he's a priest by trade. He is very rugged as he helps with maintaining the bee colony here, which helps provide the mead to this meadery. He has silver hair, light brown eyes, very modest garments when he's not wrapped up into his heavy winter clothing. He carries a few potions on his sling that he keeps readily available. I gotta ban this person. 1 second. All right. But he greets you and he says, "It's been a while, you two."
Yeah, it has. How are you guys faring?
Well, we've seen better days, unfortunately. We found him, the speaker. We finally found him just a few days ago.
You found him where?
Kendrick was found in the in the wreckage, you could say. I would say that their cargo was attacked by something. We found no mead next to them, but him and his 4 cohorts were attacked just south of here on their way to Dugan's Hole.
I see. That's horrible. We actually just came across another caravan that had been attacked. Could you tell what it was that had attacked them?
Whatever it was big. It was bigger than a Goliath, but I don't think it was the size of a frost giant unless it was one of their kin going out and straying and trying to form some sort of come-of-age ceremony sort of thing. I don't know how these giants go. But it leaves us as a town leaderless, and took quite a bit to convince everyone that it was time to hold up and pray to Oral to give us better luck in the coming month.
Well, not to discount the power of Oral, but I think praying for help might work better if someone steps up and tries to make something happen on their own as well.
Well, we were hoping that gives us maybe inspired some courage from one of us to step up and try to help us in this time of need.
Well, I very much hope so.
But please come in. Find an area to fit in with your friends. It's very rude of me to ignore you for this conversation. My name is Elror, and he looks to the party and nods very courteously.
Hello.
I tip my hat to him. Lysander Blackburn, at your service.
And he nods in return and acknowledges, and his eyes get drawn towards Zizix, and he says, as he spots a few potions on your sling as well, and he says, I see you might be a potion enthusiast of sorts yourself.
Zizix will say, well, I guess you could say that.
Yes, of course. I didn't mean to assume, so my apologies, but that one looks kind of peculiar as he points to a random potion on your belt.
He's like, so Zizix will say, oh, you got a good eye.
And he kind of pulls back his heavy winter clothing and shows that he has a variety of different potions as well. He says, I try my hand at alchemy in my spare time, but I haven't seen or created anything that looks like that one.
Well, would you like it?
What does it do?
What does it do? I mean, is there really no better way than test it yourself?
Well, I try to imbibe only in things that are known quantities. I fear unwanted side effects are something that, should be tossed out and try again. If it's not right the first time, try again, as they say. During this time, he's kind of walking with the party, finding your little spot in this crowded mead hall to stay together.
Sam, can I do a perception
You cut out there,
for any
Andy.
scholarly-looking people?
Perception check for what?
Scholarly-looking people.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
I'm right here.
Aww.
Let's see. The 18.
18. It's kind of hard to really make out everyone's professions when they're wrapped up in a bunch of clothing and blankets and everything like that, but you take notice in the individuals that have cleaner faces than the other, as they don't have, very, they don't do any hard manual labor, and you kind of pick that out, and you find one person in particular, outside of Vega, of course, that seems to be the scholarly type.
All right, I'll go over and sit near them.
Okay. And let's see what this person is. You sit next to a female halfling who has white hair and soft blue eyes, is what you can make out from her heavy garments.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes, how can I help you?
Yes. Have you lived in these parts for a long time?
Yes, my whole life.
Very good, very good. So I'm relatively new to this area, and I was interested to know about any rumors or theories about magical artifacts around these parts.
Well, I wouldn't know so much about magical artifact. Well, there was rumor that there was some sort of tower that was way out in the wilderness that's ancient. I don't know enough about it to tell you a distinct area, but in a few books that I've come across, there was a man named Drizzt, and he came across many of the magical things in these parts, but it was rumored that he himself went to this tower and there was bountiful treasures to be found. Whether or not they're magical, that's unclear at this point.
Of course. And is this fellow, is he still around?
Oh no, he's centuries ago his books were written.
Of course. Then, you wouldn't happen to know at least what direction this tower might be, out of pure curiosity, of course.
Let's see if she knows. Unfortunately, that's all the information that I have at this time. But feel free to check out my library and see if you can pinpoint anything yourself.
Yes, I would be more than happy to do that. And just one more time, what was that fellow's name?
Drizzt. So Drizzt. He was a ranger of sorts, a fairly famous one around here.
Very good. Thank you so much for your time, madam. I'm sure I'll be seeing you again.
And she says, likewise, stay warm.
I'll try.
And we shift back to the party and the group having a conversation with Elrar. And he actually leaves at one point and fetches everyone a glass of mead and brings it to the party. And as he returns, he says, well, we just made a new batch. Tell me how you like it.
As I look at the glass and I say, aren't you a sight for sore eyes?
How does it taste?
It's actually very nice. Good mead is known for one thing, and that's good mead. Everything is very fresh, very pungent. It's got the honey as a main strong kind of taste, and that kind of fades with the alcohol, leaving a familiar sort of kind of like a wine. It's a honey wine.
And he brought some for all of us?
Yes.
Okay, Andy will try hers and say, "This is wonderful, thank you."
As we're all drinking it and enjoying it, I'm going to turn to him and say, everyone in the rest of the region has been really missing this stuff.
Oh, I know. We've been trying our hardest to up our production to make up for the lost barrels of a mead, but the bees can only cultivate so much, and it actually would have been a great time to have a druid around,
Yeah, well, I'm here now. What can I do to help?
Come morning, if you might check on the bees and see if there's anything in particular that they require, or things of that nature. Druid stuff. I don't know exactly what all you people do.
Sometimes I don't either.
What'd you say, Zizix?
And he did mean you people.
I almost said, "What do you mean, you people?" But
well, at least he calls you people, whereas some people in the party don't consider Carcass people.
Even his own best friend.
Ouch.
Oh, that's too soon.
Oh.
I never agreed to be anyone's best friend.
My bad.
Well, anything you guys would like to discuss while you're sipping on your mead?
I will say this is certainly a step up from the last town.
Oh yeah, this place is quaint, but it's wonderful here.
Silas, go ahead and give me a history check, actually.
$21. 22.
Very,
Sorry.
very good. So with that, you recognize some of the structure here in town as you've walked in, and it becomes very obvious to you that the architecture in this town resembles that you've learned of growing up, resembling a Chult colony as of sorts. So you see that a lot of their culture comes from that area of the Sword Coast and south of the Sword Coast, rather. And you definitely get the whiff of like the different spices and stuff that they've been accustomed to using here in town. Stuff that you've tried in your past, but haven't, very commonly come in contact with, and it's very distinguishable in the mead. Certain spices that they're using. Just a little fun factoid that you notice.
If we play our cards right, I'm certain we'll be able to help ourselves to some spiced log. Highly recommend if they have it on the menu.
That does sound delightful. I came back, obviously.
So, as you guys sip on your mead and partake in the shared warmth, as it actually, with all the body heat in this mead hall and the back rooms being closed off, forcing everyone into this room, it's actually quite tolerable. Still, not as warm as if the hearth was on, but with everyone in their heavy winter clothing, it sure beats being outside. And, well, after a little while, people start to stir and start to move around places. Spot some movement heading in the party's direction. I'd like everyone to roll perception.
12 for me. Lek, that is.
Yep, gotcha.
A very strong 3 from Silas.
Carcass level numbers.
Carcass got the 7.
Oh,
Andy has a 20.
Eclipse also has a 3.
And sticks with a 5.
Lysander with the 21.
Vega got a 10.
okay.
I like to imagine Silas is just over Eclipse explaining the mead making process.
And you see this fairly old woman starting to make their way towards the party, Lysander, and she makes quick eye contact with you and then with Zizix, and she comes up to Zizix and drops down to a knee where he's sitting, and she says, "Hello, my name is Olivessa Untenpo. Who are you?"
Who wants to know?
"I just told you, Olivessa Untenpo."
Zizis is going to look her up and down very intent, with a lot of intent to see markings or anything that he would be, or anything he would consider noteworthy.
Sure, go ahead and roll perception.
Strong 11.
Okay. You don't see any markings of that sort that you seem to be, keeping an eye out for. But you do notice that she has very calloused hands, of all things.
My name is Zizix.
Ah,
Proud owner of Zizix's Onticle Zone.
Yes. And I can see that you are very resourceful.
You have a good eye.
Yeah. I tend to have a good eye about these things, I will say. But I have maybe an odd request of you. It could be life-changing. Very much would be life-changing.
He will raise his non-monocled eyebrow so his monocle doesn't fall out of his eye. I'm all ears.
Well, if you haven't heard yet, this town is without a leader. And I think it's time we've had someone resourceful to help lead us through this darkness. And I think you would be a great leader for this town.
He's just gonna look around, just chuckling, just to see if anyone's hearing this.
Do I hear this?
Oh yeah, she's not whispering at all. She's just having casual conversation with Zizix.
She's gonna glare at Zizix.
And he's gonna turn back to her and say, "Well, it's really nice to know when people see a good thing. But do you know who I am?"
I can't say that I know who you are, but by the look of you, you are very resourceful. And I think you're a thinker. I can tell by your monocle that you look things in great detail, and you probably have a very measured approach in how you approach things.
Well, I have a monocle because I have a bad eye.
That's neither here nor there, but I think you would be a good choice for town leader, and there's an election coming up. If you would like, I can pay for you and your friends to stay here for the next 10 days, and we try to pump your numbers up in the and try to gain some goodwill here with the town. Someone they can learn to trust.
Look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, I would be a great leader. I wish people would listen to me more. I mean, every time I give suggestions, I'm always right, so no, do they listen to me? No, they don't. But, I mean, I'm not really the leader type.
Oh. Well, if that's the case, I'm sorry to disturb you. And I hope you and your friends stay warm.
No apologies necessary. It was nice to feel wanted for a change.
No. It was foolish of me to try to juxtapose this proposition to a complete stranger.
Well, could I maybe point out someone to you?
Sure.
And Zizix is going to point to Vega. You see that guy over there?
Yes, he's directly on your left. I see him.
Yeah. You know, maybe whisper some sweet nothings into his ear, and he may be up for the challenge.
Yes, I know Vega. I make casks for all the mead, and I've known him for some time, but I don't know. Maybe you're right. And Vega, just for reference, you've seen her in passing. You guys have never really had a conversation for her to get to know you or anything like that. So keep that in mind when you overhear what she's saying.
Fair enough.
And she looks over to you and she says, well, I'd say you might be a step up in being able to win some interest from the town. Of course, the former town speaker, he trusted you a great deal. So maybe you are the natural fit. Someone the town knows. Someone that will help us through the hard times that we see here.
The only issue I see is I'm not in a place now where I feel like I can just set up camp here indefinitely. We have places to go and things to do. So I couldn't stay here all of the time.
I see. I understand. That is something that would be preferable, having a leader to be here. But and she starts to speak in a very hushed tone, and she kind of looks over to see who's around and who might be listening. She says, ever since we found the town leader, there's been a real surge from Shander here in town. And he's new here. He's only been here a couple of years longer than you have. You know how he is. He's a bully. He's a blowhard. And I don't think that's the type of person that we need leading good mead.
Do I know these descriptors to be true about him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's one of the loggers that works in the nearby forest and supplies her with the wood to make these casks. And he's very much how she describes as a bully and a blowhard to do to make sure nothing impedes his way. But those that are close to him, he's very loyal. You know that much about him.
Yes, I would agree that he's probably not the best choice. And I would love to take part in helping you guys to find the proper leadership. I just don't think that it should be any member of our party because we have other places to go and to be. But I would love to help you guys find the right leadership.
And she looks to the rest of the party and says, well, any help whatsoever that you can provide. And she pulls out a piece of paper and starts writing, and she's kind of glancing around to see who's around again. She seems to be a little paranoid with whatever she's writing. But she slips a note over to you, Faye, and she says in part, do let me know if you come across any individual that might be worthwhile of leading this town.
Of course, absolutely.
And she makes her way back to the other side of the mead hall whence she came.
And I will wait a couple minutes from when she leaves before I look at the note.
Okay.
But once that time passes, I will read it.
All right.
Discreetly.
Go ahead and roll stealth.
Oh boy. Two.
So you pull the piece of paper up, and you can't really see because there's no light, right? And so you're kind of holding the note up and trying to catch any sort of like different light from the moonlight outside. So it's very visible that you're looking at a piece of paper.
Yep, that checks out.
But you do manage to read what it says, and she seems to have hastily written down that Shandar, I believe, has ties to the Zentarim, and also has ties to Targos. I can't let this town fall to him.
Ah, okay. Then I will, obviously not discreetly in any way, fold the note back up and put it in my bag.
Yeah, I think you very obviously fold the note back up, put it in your bag, and resume sitting with the rest of the group.
Very strange of her to approach you, Zizix.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, all I'm hearing is jealousy right now.
I don't think in any sort of timeline I could be jealous of you.
That's exactly what a jealous person would say.
Zizix, if it's any consolation, I understand why she approached you, and I think you would make a wonderful advisor.
Ah, yes. Quiet, meek, unassuming, very easily manipulated, I'm sure. I agree. You would be fantastic for this job.
Look, I'm not saying that I wouldn't be fantastic. But didn't that just seem a little suspicious?
It did seem odd to approach a stranger with that. She might just be desperate to not have the leader that is front runner at the moment.
That's fair.
Well, aren't we around about that time where, towns give sacrifices and stuff?
That's why we're all gathered in the mead hall. This is their sacrifice. They sacrifice warmth and comfort.
Well, still a little strange.
No, they do not offer blood sacrifices here because there aren't enough people for that to be viable.
They don't offer blood sacrifices yet.
Fair enough, but I don't see that changing. I don't think that's what this is about.
Oh, I suspect their beds work just fine. Lek winks with his actual eye.
So wouldn't that kind of just be a blink?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that would.
He has to like tilt his head a little bit to like force it in someone's direction.
He has to-
I like do it like a head jerk on just one side of my head.
But it's super awkward and no one likes it.
All right. So, anything in particular you guys would like to do or continue to discuss during this time?
Have we decided on how we're going to find out what is taking over their caravan of mead? Have we decided how we're going to stop this or figure out what is going on there?
No, there's something going on though, because it sounds like it's the same thing that took out that other caravan, and I don't know, we assumed it was a Yeti there, but from the description, well, Sam, above table, how big are Yetis? Would their size fit in with the description they gave?
They would be about the same size as a Goliath, maybe just a tinge larger.
And their description said definitely larger than a Goliath, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can I think of anything that might fit that description?
Make an intelligence check.
Can do. That is a 20, not natural.
Well, you would think naturally between a frost giant and a Goliath, right in the middle, you'd kind of put a pin on some sort of ogre.
Okay. Then I will bring that up to the party. So based on the description they gave, the only thing I can think of that's that size might be an ogre. I might head to the library and see what I can find out about ogres in the region.
It might not be.
I go with him.
And I think I will tag along. But before we do that, I think we need to make a game plan. And what I think best is if we acted as security for the next caravan that is heading out.
Right. I'm not sure when they're planning on sending out another caravan, because I think right now they're having a problem with supply. But we can look into that too. Tomorrow I was going to help them. I was going to talk to the bees and see what's going on with that.
Okay. Well, we shall gather intel and we'll know more from there.
Would I know if the library is accessible right now with everyone gathered here?
Right now it would be locked up just in case any nefarious individuals thought it to be a good idea to sneak throughout town and try to pilfer through people's belongings while everyone's gathered up into one area.
Right.
And then you would also know that it would be very hard for you to read in complete darkness. But you could always light a torch.
Yes, I could. And I would assume I know the librarian pretty well, being from here and spending much of my time in libraries.
Oh, yeah.
So I will find her and approach her. And I will say, hey, do you think there's any way I could borrow the keys to the library for a bit? We're wanting to go and find some information.
And Malia looks up to you and says, Vega, yeah, of course. Here. And she reaches into her pocket, and you see a white rabbit kind of pop out of her winter clothing, and she tucks him back in and says, stay in there, Ized. And she reaches around, and she pulls out a keychain and says, I think you know the one. It's she looks through it and holds out the one and hands it directly to you.
Oh yeah, I'm quite familiar, thank you. And do I recognize the rabbit? Is that like a pet she usually has?
Yeah, she always has Ized by her side. If not, you'd find him throughout the library, hopping around through bookshelves. Any ones that are empty, he would, climb up to and rest on for a little while, all that sort of thing.
Well, then I will absolutely be acknowledging Ized as well. Hey there, Ized. Good to see you there, bud.
And upon hearing his name, he'll perk back up out of the heavy winter clothing and look right at you and scrunch his nose up a couple times.
Oh, he needs boops and pets.
Would you like to boop him?
I will absolutely be booping and petting and giving scritches.
You give all of the above to Ized, and he is quite happy about it.
Good.
Sam was the librarian who I talked to earlier.
Yes.
Got it.
I would like to be there whenever Vega is taking the keys from Malia. Is that her name?
Malia, yeah.
Malia. I'm gonna step up and ask, pardon ma'am, but Malia, is it?
Yes, that's my name, but you have me at disadvantage. Who are you?
Lysander Blackburn. Nice
It's-
to meet you.
Very nice to make your acquaintance. You a friend of Vega's?
Indeed. We've become friends over the last couple of weeks. He's a good man.
Ah, yes, he is indeed.
But I've got a question for you, since this night that your town participates in for Oral's demands.
Hmm?
Has anybody ever lit a torch or a candle and left it burning through the night? And if so, what would be the ramifications of that?
Well, quite honestly, I don't think this really works all that much. But the panic that kind of sets on the town if they know that the sacrifice of warmth was not fully adhered to kind of plants this strange paranoia in everyone's mind that the worst is to come. And she lowers her voice down to a whisper. She says, if you plan to light a torch, do it. But don't let anyone see you. I don't know if you guys can hear me on Discord.
Nope.
We cannot.
No,
Okay.
that came across really scary, though.
Yeah, that's a negative, Ghost Rider.
Okay. So she said if you were to light a torch, be very discreet about it and don't let anyone see you. Go to the furthest corners of the library that you can get to and just very faintly illuminate it.
Well, I might have a workaround for that anyways. And I'm going to look around for a few little rocks that I'll pick up.
Oh yeah, I
I-
mean, if not in here, easy enough outside.
I definitely have a workaround for that, so no problem there.
Okay, well, if you said that, then I will not worry about the rocks. I was going to have Zizix cast light on the rocks.
I mean, if you want to each have your own light, that's fine. I can cast I can make a flame appear in my hand. I guess I can make up to 3 appear, actually. So.
Well, I'm trying to avoid flames just in case someone happens to catch sight of it and cause a panic. I'd rather just have light without flame. So I'll probably just have Zizix cast light on some of these rocks if he wouldn't mind. And I will approach him with some rocks and ask him just that.
I've still got some questions for Malia.
Zizix will say to Vega, "What's the magic word?"
Oh, well, I would have said please immediately. Would you please cast light on these Zizix so we can use them in the library?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
He'll squeeze the rocks and open his hand and give them back to Vega.
Thank you very much, friend.
And the rocks illuminate a great light once cast, right?
And that's not great. It's light that can be seen within 5 feet. So it's not like...
Well,
You know, like a
illuminate
candle.
in a blackout, setting. It would definitely draw the attention of everyone, and they would look to you.
Well, I'll pocket them quickly once he hands them over.
All right. Go ahead and roll stealth at disadvantage, I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's fine. Nice. Actually, that's a 16.
It's not bad. Zizix?
Oh, I wasn't trying to be stealthy about it.
Oh. Okay, so people are going to see the light illuminate when it's created. And the ones closest to you are going to say, put it out! And then they're going to see that it's a rock that you're handing over and quickly grabbed by Vega. They say, wait, that wasn't a torch.
Just light, no heat, no need to worry. And as I put it in my bag.
And this man is going to look at Zizix and he's going to say, you're able to do that? You're able to create light with no heat?
And Zizix is just going to kind of look around and say, yeah. Can't other people do that?
Not anyone here. My, that would be quite useful.
Oh, it is.
How much for one of your fancy rocks?
I haven't thought about that.
Well, and while you're thinking about it, Lysander, I think you had more questions for Malia.
Yes, I did.
Go ahead.
Tell me, Malia, how long has this town been involved in this tradition?
I would have to say, since a few months after the winter started and we started to see the presence of Oral. We didn't know that it was her at hand, but the town speaker thought it was, good enough, worthwhile thing to sacrifice for hopes of a better short-term future.
What about the long-term future?
Well, it has to get better before it gets worse, right? So if it doesn't get better in the short term, then the long term is just as bleak, if not worse.
I suppose so. Have you actually seen this Oral?
Me with my own eyes? No, but I have heard people have seen her riding atop a great bird to create the aurora that we see at night sometimes.
So what does she actually look like, if you happen to know?
I can't say that I know. Some say she is a beast in natural form, and others say that there is no form.
I see. And what is the town speaker, if he was the one who decided this was a good idea to appease her, what would happen if you didn't cooperate?
Well, not saying that they're correlated, but the times that we have found people cheating out on the sacrifice of warmth, we would find all of our, nearly most of our colonies of bees frozen over. Many of our trees would be struck by thunder, and it was a combination of a lot of different weather effects. The winter might be a lot more fierce than normal. We may be snowed in, with snow that we were all trapped inside, and we've lost people during those times where they couldn't get access to food or even create a flame inside of their own home, or lack of wood to keep warm. It's a number of things.
That does put you in a bit of a tight spot.
We're short on people as it is. We're a small town, but need every pair of hands we can get.
Well, we'll see what we can do to help. I tip my hat to her, say, thank you for talking with me.
Likewise, it's been a pleasure.
And then I'll go and join Vega.
And Lek.
And Lek, I thought you were still over there with me. I'm sorry. Vega and Lek.
All right. And you guys were... the guy was inquiring into how much he could purchase one of these light rocks for, and Zizix responded with not knowing exactly. He hadn't thought about it. But he seems insistent that this is something that can really help some people stay active, at least during this time. Patrol the roads with torchlight, being able to help the security of the town.
Out of curiosity, Vega, how many stones did you give me?
Oh, I probably just grabbed enough so we could each have one. So there's 3 of us going. I probably would have just brought the 3.
Okay. So Zizix will say, "Well, it's not quite so easy. Unfortunately, I have limitations on this. I haven't quite figured out a way to mass produce. But I could do 2 more, and you guys can use it however you want."
I see. And how long do they last? Do they expire?
Well, I've never had one expire in front of me.
I see.
You can ask that one over there how long the chirping lasted, and he'll kind of point to Eclipse.
I heard that.
And he'll be a little confused with that, and he says, chirping?
And Zizix will say, it's a great story, but maybe another time. Well, I'm always looking for people to use it in the field, so how about this? I just give you 2 more stones, and then next time I'm around here, you just let me know how long it kind of lasts, if not indefinitely.
He says, okay, that seems like a fair trade.
So I assume the person gives him some rocks, and Zizix will just squeeze it really hard and hand it back. And after these ones, Zizix kind of feels a little worn out,
Okay.
just because that's kind of the peak of his magical ability on that kind of
Sure.
ability.
Sure. And he'll take these rocks and he'll stow them in his pocket, or one at least, and he hands the other over to someone else on that side of the room, and he says, thank you, and we'll take note to how long these last.
I could always maybe train somebody to do this. I've always wanted my own apprentice.
Well, that'd be great if we had spare hands, but I feel that this light would be too much of a luxury for us to dedicate one whole person to.
What about the whole town?
What?
What if I taught your entire town, and then you could just use it and, for the greater good, right?
Oh, we surely couldn't do that. Our days are filled as it is, and we need every hour of daylight to be able to produce.
Well, why don't I teach the teacher? And then as things progress, that person can train more people, and then that person can then train more people, and then, it'll spread like wildfire. Before you know it, your city will be running by lights powered by no fire at all.
That would be swell, but we actually don't have a teacher.
That's what I'm saying. I could teach somebody.
Oh, I see.
What about you?
No, I can't. I have to, and he starts to look back
with
towards.
that attitude, I don't want to teach you now, but maybe. Do you know somebody with a better attitude?
And he starts to get a little flustered, and he's like, honestly, these are decisions that a leader would make, and currently we don't have any.
Well, well, I guess you guys are out of luck.
I suppose so.
Maybe next time we're around, you guys will have a leader, and then I'll, show them what's what.
Well, until then, I suppose.
When will that be?
I believe we're having an election in 10 days or so.
I really don't know how long we're gonna be here. But next time we come through, you just make sure you remind me.
Absolutely.
And Zizix is just going to kind of just sit down in his just where he is, right next to Ollie, and just kind of lean up next to him.
All right.
Zuzix has had a lot of great conversations with a lot of random people, but for some reason, this is one of my favorites.
Well, man, he didn't have a great attitude.
Attitude is everything.
In any case, in this meat hall full of people, is there anything else anyone would like to do before we migrate over to the library?
I suppose not.
Just finish my mead.
All right. Silas and Eclipse and Carcass and Andy. Everyone else is going to the library, I take it?
Yes.
I believe that's correct. So, you three start to make your way over to the door, and you quickly open it up and shut it behind you, exiting the mead hall, leaving it behind, and find yourselves wandering about town. Let's see. 4, sorry. And Vega, you lead the way with keys in hand to head over to the library, and you find it completely dark and locked. The key she picked out unlocks it for you, and you now have access to the library.
Fantastic. I will go in, be sure to close the door behind us, and take my little light rock, make sure that the other two have theirs as well, and go start looking for books on ogres.
All right. What? Let's see. Is everyone looking for books on ogres?
No. I'm looking for books on or by Dritz the Ranger.
All right.
And I will be looking for books on oral, and also if I can find anything about Kothas. Follow up on my investigation of the Carcass's past.
Oh, I don't want to ogre about it.
All right.
That was weak.
Go ahead and roll investigations.
$17.
3.
20, not natural.
Very nice. So, Lysander, you don't have much luck finding anything about oral. You find a few books about deities and stuff like that, but nothing that describes oral as the main subject. There are tomes on Tyr and a few other deities that you're aware of and you've heard of through the years. Lek, you're able to find a book on Dritz, who is his full name is Drizzt Do Urden, DO'Urden. We'll get into the detail of what you find here in a bit. And then, Vega, what was your roll?
20, not natural.
That's right. So you definitely find some books on larger creatures, and you know that the ogres around here that seem to be more frequent are called Virgan. Let's see. spelling that. Or, sorry, Verbeeg. Verbeeg. They're definitely representative of more like giants than ogres in the sense of intelligence. They're not so fee-fi-fo-fum as most ogres are.
But not Shrek level smart, right?
Maybe a step below Shrek.
Do they have layers? Is the real question.
Verbeeg have layers.
Okay.
They like their boulders. They have nice boulders.
All right. Just making sure we're clear on all that.
They don't like parfaits.
Oh, parfaits are delicious. All right. I could go on with Shrek references all day, so I'll move on. So I know. So do I find where they typically reside?
They like to hold up in caves, mainly.
Okay. I'll make sure to keep an eye out specifically for like the best ways to track them and the best ways to fight them, like their weaknesses, their vulnerabilities, their resistances, all that kind of stuff.
All right. And while you do that, we're going to pause for about 10 minutes for our break. So, what you find from your findings is that there seems to be a pseudo-autobiography that was written by Driz Durden. And in skimming these pages, you find that he is a drow that had surfaced from the Underdark around the Ten Towns area, and you highlight over a couple of big events that he was known for defending a few towns of Mirabar and other northern realms from frost giants, and was actually quite efficient in what he did. And you know that he had a companion in a Black Panther that would aid him in battle. But you take note that he actually had a magical bow at one point that was gifted to him from Silvery Moon, which is a very large city in the north. And you take note of that and put it in the back of your mind as possibly one of these magic items that might be worthy of acquiring.
What was the name of that town again? Silvery Moon?
Silvery Moon, you got it.
Cool.
So, from that, anything else in particular you want to look for in Driz's autobiography?
Any mentions of the tower that Malia talked about?
None in this book that you've seen so far. But you've only just picked it up, and it's a pretty thick book.
Okay, then I will continue to look for information about that.
All right. As far as Vega and Zizix, when it comes to descriptions of how best to fight against these Verbeeg, you see a lot of mentions of Verbeeg being capable of manipulating the environment around them to their advantage. So one thing to look out for are traps, as they are very good at trapping things. And also, that if you have seen some success mentioned in these books, that if you booby trap their traps, that might be just the easiest way to take down a Verbeeg. Otherwise, you're relying on your ability to not get hit, while also maintaining a presence and being able to deal with them physically, which is a tough task for anything that's not the size of a Goliath.
You could say it's a very big problem.
I like that one.
Oh, very good, Andy.
I'll be here all night.
So, with that, you guys probably spend about an hour or so looking through the library, and that's the information that you've gotten so far. What would you like to do?
Okay, so you said booby trap their traps. How exactly does that work? So, like, if they go to disarm one, something will go off and hurt them?
So, one particular method that was described is that these Verbeeg like to set bait up and have the bait activated by a trigger that will cascade boulders down onto their prey. And then they'll come by like trappers, like the one you met in Bryn Shander, come along and move those boulders and collect their prize. But if you were to say, trap around an activated trap, they may not be suspecting it, if that makes sense.
I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But other than that, it doesn't say anything about, like, anything that they're specifically resistant to or vulnerable to?
No, not that you've found here.
Okay. Okay.
Did I manage to find any information about the tower?
Within the first hour, that's what you found so far. If you guys plan on spending more time here, you would make additional rolls to see how in depth you were going.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I actually might try to find a detailed map of caves in the area and see if I can find some in the region that would make sense to be where they came from to attack both caravans that we know got attacked.
Okay. Go ahead and make that investigation roll.
Okay.
While he does that, I'll look for more information about the tower.
Did you say Zizix was helping me with this?
Yeah, you both were on that same subject, I thought.
Sure.
Then would that give me advantage?
Either rolling individually or one with advantage.
What's the check against?
Investigation.
Why don't you give me advantage?
That works for me.
Good thing.
Okay.
So 23.
Very nice. So with that, you are able to locate a map that kind of has a good outline of areas around Goodmead that might be beneficial. You look to southeast of Goodmead. You crossing the frozen river. You'll find a path that leads to sort of like a mountain range kind of area. But you take note that this area, though close to Goodmead, is in the opposite direction of where you found that caravan that came from Bryn Shander carrying the metals.
Okay. Do we see promising caves near that location?
So yeah, there is one particular cave where there's a river nearby. That same river that you would cross forks, and you would follow that river to this mountainous area that has a few caves inside of that range.
Okay, but neither of them are like in a somewhat central location to both attack sites?
Correct. So once you go north, of good mead. You have rolling hills and tundra, but going to the south or southeast or southwest, that's when you start getting into the mountainous terrain of the spine of the world.
Gotcha.
With the only outlier being Kelvin's Cairn, of course, the mountain that you climbed earlier, or a few days
Right.
ago.
Right.
It's kind of like a sole landmark of the 10 towns, being almost smack dab in middle of the region.
Okay, well, I will make sufficient note of both cave locations. And we'll probably suggest to the party that we investigate the one close to the attack of the caravan that left here.
All right. Lysander, did you want to look for something else, or would you like to re-roll your investigation for the second hour that you spent here?
Yeah, I would like to re-roll that.
Go for it, bud.
That would be a 13 that time.
That's a little bit better. So you were looking in particular for information on Kothis, and what was the other thing?
And any lore about Oral.
Oral. So nothing in the library on Oral. You don't see very many books that are newer than maybe what look like 5 or 6 years old, which predate this cold winter in this library. But you spend time just looking over geography and any other mentions of Kothis, and you're just coming up empty.
He probably needs to look in the adult section for information on oral.
God.
Oral's wrath starts to grow. She doesn't know Lek Sherlong, but she's starting to get a huge disdain for him.
Pissy.
Oh, all right. You guys have spent 2 hours inside of this library. You feel your itch for knowledge scratched, or shall you continue?
I did want to use my second hour to look for information on the tower. Oh no, that's all good.
Go ahead and make another investigation check.
I did already. I rolled a unnatural 20.
Very nice. So let's see. So, you find a name of a spire that is rumored to be in the 10 Towns region, but there's no distinct location given for this individual spire. But the spire is referred to the Lost Spire of Netheril. It's spelled Netheril.
Location is not known because it is the Lost Spire of Netheril. Got it. Okay.
And it was considered lost a few centuries ago, so there's no telling how lost it might be now.
All right. Very good. Lek takes note of these things, and he is satisfied.
All right. Anything else from the library nerds?
Just doing nerd shit.
Doing nerd.
Maybe read some fan fiction.
Ah, yes, fan fiction.
Read
You
aloud.
You find the section that seems to be detailed into the lives and tribulations of a group called the Z-Men.
Cool. And what did they do?
Well, Z-Men were composed of a group of some would say mutants, but you see that there is actually the Tasmanian Devil, and then you see that there is the three-eyed man who wore some sort of like protective lenses on his glasses. It's really far out stuff once you start to dig deep into it.
Tubular.
But then you see some sort of fox came along and just ruined it.
And what did this fox say?
The fox say, "I will sell this for $1 billion."
All right.
Probably sold it to a mouse or something.
Well played.
Very good. Very good.
All right. So with that, do you guys make your way back to the mead hall, or do you explore the town more? With Vega being very familiar with the town, any place you wanted to go, he could point you in that direction.
I'm content heading back to the mead hall.
Me too.
Mead too.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Can't let Andy have all of these.
Yeah, my pun vacuum is very strong. Solid.
Well, it doesn't suck. All right.
Ha-ha!
Clara will quit. Oh my gosh.
Nice. Nice.
All right. So you guys exit the library and start to make your way back to the mead hall, where you see everyone is still bundled up quite snugly, and you see Andy has kind of nodded off and fallen asleep, whereas the others are still awake for the most part, drinking more mead as another round has come their way.
I would also like more mead.
Yeah, consider it done.
Lek grabs a cup.
Did you find anything of interest?
Yes, I found a good number of things to keep me plenty busy while I'm in these parts.
I am positively overjoyed for you.
Oh. Why, thank you, my good friend. And did you enjoy your time here while I was gone?
You cut out a little bit there.
And did you enjoy your time here while I was gone?
It feels a little warmer with some proper drink in me, I must be honest.
Very good. Well, I will join you. I have not felt warm since I arrived here.
Eclipse of the Moon. Is that the full name, correct?
Yes, it is.
Wonderful. I'm interested in knowing a bit more about you, provided you have any information you wish to share.
Well, I am basically an open book. What do you wish to know?
How did you come to join these folk? They don't seem to respect someone of your stature.
They are respectful enough, I assure you. but I was with Vega before all of this started.
And he is the Luxodon, correct?
Yes, that is he. We lived here in Goodmead before we joined up with the rest of these people.
And do you find them to be trustworthy, useful?
Well, as far as our journey's gone, I'd say so.
Fascinating. I'm curious as to why Adriana does not hold rank over you.
I feel like she doesn't see herself in that way. She doesn't see her rank as something to use on other beings.
A lack of will. Understood. A shame. And I did not mean you particularly, more of the group itself. Her kind are natural-born leaders in some instances.
I see. Is she from an important family?
Important enough that I've heard of the Reynards.
I see.
Yes, they could be useful. One day down the line.
And the sounds of the meat hall start to dampen as more and more people start to nod off up against the wall, and people start leaning on others and using them as mutual sleeping posts, if that makes sense. The meat hall starts to grow quieter and quieter as the night rolls on. Anything else you guys would like to do before we go to morning?
Not I.
Sleep, I suppose.
Yes, I could curl up and try and get warm and sleep.
Zizix, may I borrow you for a moment?
As long as you don't kill me.
We'll have to see how the conversation goes. And Silas will kind of stand up and move to the other side of the room.
Intrigued, he will follow, with Ollie in tow.
So, I realize it's not necessarily my business, but you were in a position to gain a bit of influence here. I'm curious why you would turn that down.
Well, a few reasons. Firstly, I'm not the leader type. You know, that's a lot of responsibility. And that would take me away from what I really enjoy doing, which is, you know, researching magic. And if I'm a leader of a town, I won't have time to do that.
Perhaps not as much research on your own, but you could absolutely delegate that research to others. You could increase your knowledge possibly threefold, at least.
Well, perhaps. Call me old-fashioned, but I like to do things myself.
You and I
that's
share that.
That's the only way that I know that it can be done correctly.
You and I share that in common. I'm never afraid to get my hands dirty either.
Who said anything about getting them dirty? I create things and I ask people to use them, see how they actually work. Then I make improvements, and then and then I just make the next version of it. That's how That's how me and Lysander kind of met.
Was he a creation of yours as well?
No, but you could say that he was kind of the prototype for Ollie here.
Yes. The flying dog, correct?
Oh, he's more than just that.
Well, clearly you have some kind of a special relationship with him. I was simply speaking in a simplistic verse.
Understandable. Especially with if you're not aware of what he is, I could see how people may describe him in something that's familiar.
Well, it is quite a marvelous invention. I see merit in it,
Thank you.
of course. On that note, as you're one who is looking for subjects, should no one else care to step up as a sign of understanding between us, I would volunteer to take one of your vials if needed.
Really?
As long as you're not trying to kill me, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Well, I never try and kill anyone. But accidents do happen.
That they do. They've been known to happen frequently around me.
Well, maybe I'll create a potion just for that.
Perfect. A good conversation with you, Zizix.
Likewise. You know, I really am shocked when people are amazed that, you know, I know what I'm talking about.
I never took you for a fool, Zizix. Perhaps a little spacey, to an extent, but I believe that's more choice than anything.
Well, it's more just my mind races and I don't know how to slow it down.
Understandable. I assure you, my mind has been known to race as well.
You know what? Take this. And he'll hand him a vial.
Yeah, I'd like to investigate it if that's all right.
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll your investigation.
That's a natural 1, but plus 5 gives me a nice 6.
What kind of potion did you hand?
Do you want me to describe exactly what it is, or what Zizix wants
What
to...
it would look like.
Oh, what it would look like? This one is kind of just a kind of a clear liquid, but it has kind of... It looks like there's air. Like you can see kind of like a little piece, like visible air moving around inside the vial.
And that's about all you kind of are able to gather with this investigation.
Well, I appreciate this. I shall demonstrate it when I feel the time is right.
Well, don't wait too long. You know, potions eventually they lose their potency. You know, sometimes they get better with age. A lot of the time they don't.
Would you like me to try it now?
Well, sure.
All right, yeah. Silas will just kind of pop it and just swallow it.
All right. What kind of potion did you give him?
It is a potion of swiftness. So his walking speed is increased by 10 feet for 1 hour.
So Silas, you've taken an upper, and you feel like you're moving quicker. You might even be talking a little bit faster than normal.
I would say, Zizix, this is quite a phenomenal brew you have here. I would gladly reimburse you for another day. I feel like this could be quite useful.
Well, everything I do is useful. How do you feel? Tell me how you feel.
Oh, well, if I must be honest, my heart is beating a bit faster than I'm used to, and my skin's tingling a bit. I kind of feel like my hair is standing on end, and...
Yeah, I can see that. And Zizix will be writing this stuff down in his notebook. But you don't feel like you're going to go on a rage and kill people?
I mean, no more than usual.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
At least it didn't make it more pronounced. At least yet.
Honestly, it feels like my first kiss.
Man, that's rough.
A little bit. With that
Well, I don't really know how long it lasts, so you just let me know when you go back to feeling normal. And he'll
can do
go normal.
I can do that for you, Zizix. And he'll kind of tussle his hair a little bit and move on back over to the group.
You get there much quicker than you expected. Definitely have a pep in your step. Carcass, what are you doing at this point?
I'm just sitting on the floor. I don't want to talk to anyone or be bothered, so I'm just kind of looking down at the floor, moving my feet around, playing with my hooves.
Okay.
Would Zizix see this at this point?
Yeah.
Zizix is gonna motion Ollie to go and see if he can, tug at Caucus's cloak as a sign of playing. He wants to play with him.
Yeah, I will reach out and tug the cloak back, but not very hard, because I do not want to break the little puppy.
Yep. And you pull the cape back from Ollie. I'm assuming. Does he let go, or is he clenching on?
Oh, he'd probably let go. It wouldn't be like he's trying to, forcefully tug at it, just in a playful tone.
So you'll pull the cape back from Ollie, and he'll kind of assume the playing stance and lean into his two front legs, kind of in a ready position.
Oh, I will throw my cloak back at him just a little bit, and let him nibble and pull again.
Then Ollie would probably fly the cloak around Caucus's face so it wraps him up in it.
I will pull it just a little bit harder, just to kind of tug him up and down as he flies around.
Wholesome moment with Carcass and Ollie.
This is so fucking adorable.
So time starts to pass, and with the mead everyone's been drinking, some eyes get heavier than others. A few of you start to fade off into unconsciousness and fall asleep where you sit. Lysander, I assume, is kind of keeping a very taking his sentient position and just kind of keeping watch while he goes into rest mode, essentially.
Indeed, yes.
If there's nothing else, last chance to utilize this time.
Maybe just wake up Zizix an hour in to let him know it wore off.
Okay.
Zizix will note that in his book.
Very good. So, the break of the sunrise starts to set into the mead hall, and the voices begin to rise, and people start to awaken and nudge each other awake. And, people light up their torches, and the hearth is lit, and people kind of celebrate that no one's been lost on this sacrifice of warmth, and by following protocol, everyone was able to survive, make it through to the next day, hopefully winning the good graces of Oral in the meantime. So, everyone starts to get up and leave the tavern and start to go about their daily duties. What is the party going to do?
Well, Vega did say he would go talk to the bees and see what's up, so I think that's what he's gonna do.
Bees.
All right. What about the rest of you?
Zizix's gonna make a couple more potions.
Okay.
Eclipse would like to go with Vega.
Okay. How about Lysander and Carcass?
I think that I would like to go back to the library if Malia is going to be there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I might have her show me around since I didn't get very much information last night.
Sure.
Silas would probably follow Lysander if that's all right.
Lek will probably go with Vega and Eclipse.
All right. Let's go ahead and go there with Vega, Eclipse, and Lek. You guys make it out into the little, very well cultivated area. This tree line and forest is very organized, and you kind of hear the buzzing of the bees all around you. There's quite a few of them. And Carcass and Lysander are not there. But it's there's still snow in the trees that almost some provide shelter from the windbreak, it seems, for some of these beehives as you pick them out and can spot them as you're walking through this very small forest. So what would you guys like to do as you're making your way through?
Would I know, does speak with animals work with bees?
Yeah, you would.
I would, and it does?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. I just wanted to double check. Then I'll go ahead and cast it and start talking to some motherfucking bees.
All right. So as you start to cast the spell and you start to listen, you hear the bees kind of singing a tune as they seem to work. Say, work, 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 nectar, nectar, nectar. Pollinate the flowers, gonna get some honey. Pollinate and vomit in our own hive.
Yes.
Oh man. Well, I'll walk up and say, "Hello there, friends.
Hello.
How are you all this fine day?"
We're doing good. Doing good. Busy.
Yes, that makes sense.
This bee that you're talking to is kind of like, wait, we're talking. And he flies over and lands on the upper part of your trunk and kind of crawls over to where he can look at you in the eye.
Hey there, bud.
Hello. I've seen you before.
Yeah. I lived here for quite a while.
Yeah, I remember. What's you can talk to us, huh? That's weird.
Yeah,
So-
it's a new trick I picked up while I've been out on the road.
Tell me, why are you guys destroying our home?
How do you mean?
You're taking all of our vomit.
You see, how do I explain? Sorry, above table, I'm trying to think of how to explain to a bee why we take their puke and
Sure.
use it to make things taste better.
Tread carefully.
Yeah. I know, I've seen Bee Movie. He was pretty upset about it. Honestly, I was half expecting you to have the bee sound like Jerry Seinfeld.
What's up with snow? I mean, what's that all about? You ever had beeline food?
What's the deal with honey?
That was pretty good.
Well, Mr. B, what's your name, by the way?
You can call me Buzz.
Love it. Well, Buzz.
His name is Buzz.
We're not trying to destroy your homes. We're trying to. You see, what you refer to as your vomit is actually a cherished commodity among humans and other humanoid creatures. And we very much want to make your lives easier and make it easier for you to produce more of it so that we may help you and you may help us.
Wait a minute. So this is a controlled effort?
Meaning what?
Like you guys are utilizing our work for your own gain?
To some extent, but you're also utilizing a lot of our work. We're trying to create a hospitable environment here for you as much as we possibly can.
That makes sense.
So is there anything we can do to help make your lives easier so that you can more easily produce, more easily live your lives?
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't like this smoke.
You don't like the smoke?
Yeah, they fumigate our homes with smoke and then cause us to evacuate, and then it's a whole ordeal, and we got to take the queen out, and we got to worry about the queen and protect the queen, and then we have to make sure that it's cool with other people, other bees, to hide our queen for a little while, and then it's just a whole to-do.
Okay. Above table, I know that smoke and nicotine and stuff like that is used in beekeeping, but I don't know for what purpose or any of that, but I feel like Vega probably would, living in good mead.
Smoke is kind of utilized to confuse the bees, and it kind of triggers their response that their home is no longer safe and they need to leave, and it kind of vacates them from the premises, is essentially what it's done for. It's for dispersing the accumulation of bees in a certain area.
So they can harvest the honey from there?
Yes.
I see. Okay, then I'll tell you what, friend. Do you think there's a way we could set up a signal when we want to get some of your vomit, as you say, so you guys can clear out and we won't disturb you as much?
Well, if maybe, we had a more permanent establishment that maybe we can do both at the same time, because I don't really enjoy having to, we all really don't enjoy having to remake the whole hive on a new tree. We like our tree. Our tree is our home, and that's the one we picked, and that's what we like. But if you guys were to make something for us to be able to stay there while also taking our honey, we might be able to be a little bit more happier about it and not get lost on the way back to the wrong tree. Zzz.
I see. And would Vega know how to make something like that? Or know someone who would?
Intelligence check. Zzz.
This is okay. That's a 7.
Well, you can't think of a good way on your own to solve this problem that he's kind of proposing. But I'm sure if you were to talk with other individuals in town, they might put together some ideas.
Okay.
And then Buzz, he says, oh, and another thing. We really like those round orbs that come from this bush that taste like, it's kind of tart.
I'm going to look at the bush. What kind of berries is he referring to?
Cranberries.
Cranberries, okay. All right, Buzz, noted. I will go see what I can find out for you. I will speak to you again in a while. Where can I find you specifically?
You can find me at the hive over that way, and he kind of turns his body and kind of takes flight in a certain direction you're watching, and you can see the hive up on the tree, and he returns back and says, if I'm not there, then you can find me somewhere around here. Usually in the mornings I try to zzz over to the cranberry or the orb bushes and try to get stuff from there, and just fill my body up full of this pollen.
All right, well, I will just call out your name when I return.
All right. Well, if that's all you got, then I guess I'm just gonna buzz off. Zzz, and he takes off.
Thank you, friend.
Eclipse is gonna turn to Vega and say, that was probably the most adorable thing I've ever seen you do.
Well, yeah, because I guess from you and Lex's perspective, I was just standing there like, bzzz.
Oh, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yup.
And as she says that, I'll turn to her and I'll buzz a couple times and be like, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, I am pretty fucking adorable.
Lek will then turn to Vega and say, so what's the buzz on the bees?
We're gonna get along there, bud. Puns are my friend. Well, there's a few things I'm gonna need to talk to some of the people in the town about. The bees really like cranberries, so we should get them more of those. And they want another place so that they can produce honey somewhere and still have their hive and not have to get smoked out, so to speak. So I'm gonna go see who I can talk to about that.
You say they like cranberries?
They do indeed.
All right. Lek casts prestidigitation so that the smell of cranberries wafts in the bee's direction.
All right. And as you start to do that, you start to see that all these bees that are pretty decentralized start to centralize on this area where the scent is going. And you see now that you have essentially have you ever seen one of those bait balls in an aquarium, just a school of fish swimming around in a very tight circle? That's essentially what you're doing to the bees right now.
Whoops.
Yeah, and as I notice this, and if he audibly says whoops, I'm going to say, you might want to undo that, friend. That's just like dangling a carrot in front of them that they're never going to get. And that's not going to be helpful.
Didn't think that one through. I uncast prestidigitation.
All right, fair enough. Vega, so you give this warning to Lek there, and you start hearing NB, what the fuck? Where is it? What the fuck? Is this?
Okay, then I'm gonna say we should leave and let them calm down, and not be like, "Hey, sorry, that was just my friend fucking with you." Yeah,
Was an accidental fuck.
Oopsie.
Good intention.
All right.
I'm gonna look for someone in charge of like harvesting the honey and working with the bees and everything to talk to them.
Sounds good. But in the meantime, we will hop over to the library, which was Lysander and Silas. Carcass, did you go with them, or did you stay in the mead hall?
No, I stayed in the hall.
Okay, so you and Zizix are in the mead hall making those potions, is what you guys are doing at the moment then.
And playing with Ollie.
Playing with Ollie. So Lysander, you and Silas make your way to the library, and inside you see Alia dusting off some of the shelves and rearranging some of the books, and she catches your eye, or you catch her eye, and she says, well, did you find everything you needed last night?
Well, to be honest, no. I was hoping that maybe you, being the librarian, would be a lot more familiar with where certain sections and books might be.
Oh yeah, I try to be. What exactly is what exactly are you looking for?
Well, particularly, I was hoping to see if there was any books on ancient deities like Oral, if there's any tomes about her.
And she gets kind of like a inquisitive look, and she says, well, Oral is a fairly new deity, and we don't know much about her, but... And she goes over and she brings back a book to you, and she says, if this Oral is a deity herself, I think she's in the beginning stages of becoming one. I don't think she's actually one yet, if you want my honest opinion.
That's very interesting.
From what I've read about things like this, and you can find this information in this book here, and she hands you this book. Lesser deities and the path to ascension. She says, there are many lesser deities that have come across the Sword Coast that we have known. And some of them benevolent, some of them not so much. But if you read through these stories, you'll see that deities peter out if they have no followers. And with the and that tends to happen more with the benevolent ones than the evil ones, you know. Just the concept of being able to have a direct effect on someone's life in a negative fashion warrants a more strong response from the individuals, if that makes sense. But
It does.
So, what you might find in this book is if you read for the benevolent deities, which Auril is not, the good that they bring gets taken for granted, and their worshippers turn to other means, other deities that wreak fear on them. And they stop worshipping the benevolent ones, and the malevolent take their place. And the benevolent start to be forgotten. And when they're forgotten, they fade.
Huh. Seems to me that she is very powerful for a lesser deity, as you would say.
Oh, lesser deities are very, very powerful. Don't let that, the lesser known, or the lesser adjective, wane that respect that these deities deserve. Even if they're lesser, they're quite powerful.
So what does she give you in return for your sacrifice of warmth?
Well, some would draw correlation to a bountiful harvest, to more bees surviving in this cold winter, but honestly, anything that is positive that happens after a time of a successful sacrifice is attributed to that, whether it is true or if it's just happenstance. But all anyone knows is that when bad things happen, it stirs the populace to want to sacrifice more.
Yeah, I've gathered that from other deities.
In my experience, fear is always a wonderful motivator.
It's quite literally, I think, the most powerful motivator. I'm sorry, I don't think I ever caught your name.
I never gave it, but if you must know, my name is Silas Nouvelle of Cormier.
Of Cormier? Really?
Yes, I understand it's a little surprising.
Yeah, it's a long ways away. What brings you up here? If I'm not mistaken, you're one of great stature, but it seems to be an unfortunate curse.
I appreciate you recognizing me. Yes, well, I came here with noble intentions. Father's feeling quite ill, and, well, with my brothers squabbling over who will take over, I decided to perhaps earn my own keep and see if I could find a cure for what ails them.
I see. And that journey brought you here.
It brought me a number of places along the Sword Coast, but eventually, yes. Here is where I had to reside for about the last 2 years after my guide perished in an avalanche.
Well, those avalanches take many a people. Let me tell you. But this must be a real change of lifestyle for you.
I've made do with what I have. I'm fortunate to find kind folk like Lysander here who have been willing to.
You dropped out after willing to.
You broke up there a little bit.
You dropped out after willing to.
Willing to find kind folk like Lysander here to take me in, as it were.
I see that. Well, Lysander, if you were not aware, Silas here, I believe, was first in line to the throne. But because of this curse, not that I would know the intricacies of what the royal policy is in Cormyr more than what I've read, I don't think they would have taken very kindly to an heir being a tiefling.
As far as most folks are concerned, there are only 2 sons of the royal throne, so I've simply made do with what I have.
I see. Well, I pity you, and I feel sorry for you.
It's appreciated, I suppose.
Right. And she looks back to Lysander and says, take this book, study it, and see if there's any patterns that you can discern, or if the pattern that I stumbled upon is in fact correct, and if one way to kill Oral would be to change the minds of all of 10 towns, then maybe that would save us.
It's a very astute observation that you have drawn. I'll see what I can find. Thank you.
Yes. You both are welcome here, and come back anytime.
One more thing.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of an island called Kothos?
Kothos?
Yes, Kothos.
That's nothing that I'm familiar with. I can't say that I've heard of an island called Kothos.
Any place and nothing, anything ringing any bells?
No settlements that I've ever seen written about in all the books that I've read.
You do seem the well-read type.
Well, I have a lot of time in my hands.
Well, thank you very much for your input. You've given me some valuable information.
Yes. Sorry I couldn't be of more help, but let me know what you find, and if you need some help spreading this disbelief here in town, won't be easy. I might be able to help.
We'll see what we can do.
DM above table question. This is we're speaking with a halfling, correct?
Yes. That is correct.
Then, as we're parting, Silas would like to speak to them in halfling and just simply say, your knowledge is appreciated, and your efforts do not go unnoticed.
And she replies back, well, thank you for knowing the language of my people and being very respectful. It too is appreciated.
Then I'd like to give just a traditional halfling exit, like a halfling farewell, before making my way over a few steps away and waiting for Lysander.
All right.
Yeah, I would like to wait for him to say his goodbye to Malia. and whenever he comes out, are you exiting the library with me?
Yes.
So as we go to find everybody, I'll turn to Silas and say, so she mentioned you're from Cormyr.
Yes. That is where I was born and bred.
I see. My friend Carcass, he is far from home, and I do not know. I'm not familiar with Cormyr, admittedly. But are you familiar with the Sunset Mountains?
DM above table, would that be something I'd be familiar with?
Nope.
Is that yep or nope?
Nope.
I can't say it's anything terribly familiar, unfortunately.
I see. I'm trying to piece some missing pieces together from his past and coming up with a lot of blanks. He mentioned that where he is from, given the map that I showed him, he pointed to this mountain ridge close to Cormyr. I didn't know if you might be familiar with a place called Kothos. It's a land filled with many of his people.
As far as you're aware, Silas, that mountain range is nothing but roaming hill giants trying to quabble for the best pickings of different areas of the mountain range. There's really no civilization to speak of around there.
I've not particularly heard of any civilized folk entering those mountains. Those who did certainly never returned alive. Or returned at all, rather.
Indeed. Though I wouldn't necessarily call Carcass civilized.
Never wished to implicate that he was.
The slander.
In any case, I guess we should go and find the rest of our group.
Perhaps that would be best, yes. It seems that these folks are rather accustomed to being duped by folks wishing to pass themselves off as deities. Honestly, if I wasn't so set on the throne of my own, I could perhaps make a home here. But I've got bigger ambitions.
Indeed. It does seem like a nice place in need of good leadership.
So, with that, are you guys headed back to the mead hall?
If that is where everybody else is, sure.
Well, you know, Lek, Eclipse, and Vega went over to the forest to maintain to the bees. You're not sure exactly how that endeavor is going, so you can choose to head that direction or back to the mead hall where Carcass and Zizix are.
Yeah, I'll go back to the meat hall.
Okay. And then going to Lek, Vega, and Eclipse, where were you guys headed? Were you headed to find people that worked in the bee area, or were you headed back to the mead hall to look for that?
Back to the meat hall to look for what?
For people with information on how to build whatever thing the bees were trying to describe.
I would probably look for people working around the bees first to bring it up to them and get their input on it, and definitely tell them about cranberries and the smoke and all that.
Yeah, so it doesn't take very long for you to come across a few workers that seem to be paring down the spare branches and stuff and making the trees fairly nice, brushing off some snow where it's threatening to maybe disturb the beehives that exist there. So you see a few people working around there.
Would I know who kind of heads up the bee operation?
Yeah, you would. You would actually. You'd be looking for a dragonborn named Eshkil.
Then I will walk up to the workers and say, could either of you tell me where I can find Eshkil at the moment?
Yeah. Eshkil should be arriving here soon. I think she was a little slow with getting her kids all tidied up and hunkered back down in their home, but she shouldn't be long.
Wonderful. Then I suppose I will wait for her arrival. And Sam, could you spell that name for me?
It is Eshkil. And because you know her, you know she has an inclination to have sticky fingers.
Because of the honey?
Yes.
Or actual, like,
No,
she steals things, sticky
She
fingers?
actually steals things.
All right. We talking like stealing pens from the office type of sticky fingers, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
stealing cash from the register type?
It's not. It's not even something she thinks about. Like if someone hands her a pen or a quill to write something down, she'll pocket the quill, kind of thing.
Okay, so like the guy who goes to a party and ends up with everyone's lighter.
Yes.
That type of sticky fingers. Okay, so absent-minded stealing.
Yes, precisely.
Got it. Okay, cool. I can handle that. I handle that in real life.
So if you choose to wait there, or do you choose to wait there, or do you try to meet her halfway in the direction of whereabouts she lives?
I would probably just chill here, pull out a pipe and a book until she arrives.
Yeah, and it doesn't take long. Eclipse and Lek, what would you like to do while you wait?
Well, I will probably turn to Eclipse and Vega, since they're they're from around here, and ask them, so, you know the people in this town. Who would you say is the most expert healer?
Sam, who would we say is the most expert healer?
Yeah, who do I know?
Who do we know?
So Elror actually would be the most competent one here, but he's quite limited. It's kind of a regionality thing that he's a big fish in a small pond, but if you were to look throughout all of 10 towns, you would surely believe everyone, or there's a number of people that are more capable than him, particularly Andy included in that.
Right. I would have, yes. Okay, then I will say, well, actually, our friend who greeted us when we first arrived is probably the most capable here, but he's not super capable in comparison with even members of our own party. So.
I see. Okay. Very good. But he probably would know some even more renowned healers in this region, right?
Why do you ask?
Possibly, but I would say Andy would know better than he would.
Oh, Andy would know the expert healers, or she would, in general, know how to take care of any oddities one might come across.
I would think she would know more than he would. She's pretty well versed. She knows what she's doing.
Oh, very good. To answer your question, Eclipse, I have we'll call it a natural curiosity about such things, so I will have to bend Andy's ear next time I see her.
All right. And it doesn't take very long for Eshkil to make her way, and she starts looking at what's been taken care of, and you catch her eye, and she says, Vega, it's been a while.
Oh, yeah, too long, I'd say.
Well, what exactly is, what can I... No, nobody heard you. Sorry. I thought you were just silent. What did you say? Never mind. Okay. What do I owe the pleasure? Eshkil says.
Huh. That's weird. She's trying to respond and no one can hear it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you are.
My mic was not plugged in all the way, even though it's been working.
Weird.
I asked like if he had an embarrassing disease and if it was embarrassing to talk about.
Oh. No. No, I wouldn't say I have an embarrassing disease. I am partially a scholar, and I simply enjoy, bending the ears or sitting down and having a good listen to those who are learned in such things. That's all. No embarrassment here.
1 and 4.
It's okay. We're here to support you if you ever want to talk.
Oh, I assure you, I am perfectly fine. But thank you for your offer of.
What would Eclipse and Vega need to roll? Constitution to try and keep from busting out laughing during this?
I would say deception to hide your laughter.
Okay.
Shit.
To keep a straight face.
Yep.
I got a 13.
I got a 10.
Okay. With your passive insight, Lek, you kind of feel like Vega's laughing at the notion of the subject that's being discussed.
I'm chuckling a bit.
Right. Well, thank you for your concern.
You're welcome.
We're here for you, buddy.
Yes, I can tell. Thank you so much. I promise. I'm fine. I am fine.
Good to know.
Yep. You mentioned it was good to know. Message received.
It is great to know because there are others like you. You can.
What exactly do you think is wrong with me?
Hey, 1 and 4, buddy. You're not alone.
It's not that anything's wrong with you. Like, it's common. It's more common than you think.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to feel like something's wrong with you. It's gonna be okay.
Oh. Good. Glad I'm in the land of oral in that case.
Oh God. Okay. I think we've sufficiently run that joke into the ground. So let's move on to the Dragonborn, shall we?
Yep. And she comes up and she asks, Vega, what do I owe the pleasure?
As I compose myself. Yeah, hey there. We were just wanting to bend your ear a bit about some things I was talking to the bees about.
Oh? What did they have to say?
Well, first of all, they were a little curious as to why we keep stealing their vomit. I explained to them, that it's a mutually beneficial thing for all involved, and, there was an agreement had there. But a couple things that I think would help the morale of the bees and therefore help the production. They really, really like cranberries. So if we could get some more cranberries around for them, I think that would help boost their morale for sure. Also, they were talking to me about possibility of building them some kind of structure so one, they don't have to keep getting smoked out for the honey to be retrieved, and two, so they can keep their home hives in their tree and have another place to produce the honey, and not have to keep relocating all the time.
Interesting. So what exactly would you have in mind, do you think?
I'm not sure. I didn't know who the best person would be to talk to about ideas for that or how to build it. But I at least wanted to mention the cranberries to you because I felt like that was something that you all could get done here on your end.
Most definitely. We can definitely take care of the cranberries. That would be certainly an easy thing to do. We can start splicing some of these bushes and trying to get them to grow in a thicker manner. As far as the structure, let's see, she's going to make an intelligence check as well. Oh, nat 20. She's like,
hell yeah.
We build a box.
She's like, I actually already built one.
It's in a prototype phase. The box has an insert that replicates the area where they would make their honeycomb, but they have two sides. So when we take one side to harvest, they have another side to continue to work on and grow and build and nourish their colonies. This is just the thing, just the kick in the rear that I needed, Vega. To know the bees want this, and well, if we had a town speaker, we'd go and tell him, but technically I don't have to ask for permission anymore. That's kind of what I'm gathering now, actually.
Yeah, I mean, get this done before the vote happens. You got all this time to get shit done without bureaucracy.
Let's hear it for forgiveness.
We're gonna call it the Box Hive. Yes.
Maybe workshop that.
The Buzz Hive?
Squared, if you.
You know, that is the name of the bee that helped me with these ideas, so I think only fitting that you name it after him.
Wait a minute. You met a bee named Buzz?
I know, isn't it fucking adorable?
That's fucking dumb. Who thought of that?
Way to be a buzzkill.
Oh, please don't kill Buzz. I liked him. He was kind.
Biatch.
So anyway, she starts to scratch her chin, and she takes off her gold-rimmed glasses and kind of rubs them on her winter clothing and puts them back on and says, I have one ready. We'll pull it out, and we'll see if we can convince these bees to take to it. We might need some enticement, though. Is there some sort of way we can maybe draw a bunch of bees into a certain area?
Vega's going to glance over at Lek and kind of
As
just
a
wait.
matter of fact, by accident, I did manage to do just that. I can produce the smell of cranberries at will.
Wonderful.
That's not my only ability, but I do have that. I can, yes.
And that's all I can do.
Lek, the master of smells.
Just cranberries, though. That's it.
Lek, citrus master.
Oh.
And she says, wonderful. The plan is coming together. I'll bring the box and you fumigate this box with the scent of cranberries. The bees will be drawn towards it. Ah, beautiful. Perfect. I'll be back.
They,
And she skirts off. Probably about 30 minutes passes and she returns. Being a dragonborn, she's fairly large and carrying this box that's probably 3 foot by 3 foot and has hinges on the top of it with the two inserts kind of poking out the top. And she brings it over to where you guys are standing and sits it down. She opens up the tops and says, "All right, master of the cranberry, do your job."
I cast prestidigitation on the box, producing the smell of said cranberries.
And just like that, the bees start to condense around the area and trickle in, and they create the buzzing noise much more audibly. And she sees it work for herself, and she looks at you, Lek, and she says, "My, someone needs to give you the rank of Cran Master very soon."
Oh, thank you. I'm happy I can be of service.
Did you know that cranberries could help with other medical issues? Sorry.
You know, back when I was a child and everyone told me how evil D&D was, I had no idea it was just because it's chock full of puns and dick jokes.
Oh, it's full of math too. Ooh.
That might be the most evil part.
You've liked math all along. No!
So Eskil is very happy with the success of her box at the moment and shuts the lids, and she says, "All right, we'll leave them in there for a day, and we'll check in tomorrow and see what happens."
Okay. Sorry, I'm over here laughing because you said she's very happy at the success of her box.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Because I was right.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh
Come
god.
on. They've been made into juice, and she's been
Oh
drinking the
my
juice.
goodness.
God, no.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry. I think this is gonna be great.
Me too. As she looks at her box fondly, and it's her baby after all. It's her. It finally came into motion, and she's ready to let the world have it. And
Oh my god.
Did she use a mirror?
oh, anyway, happy Women's Day a few days late, everybody. Oh man. Okay. So with that being a finished encounter that we will leave there, where are you guys headed next?
Wherever else we can make pussy jokes, I guess.
So the meat hall it is.
Absolutely.
So everyone makes their way back to the meat hall. They see that everyone is there already. The people who went to the library have already reconvened with Zizix and Carcass and Andy, who is there. And you guys all get together to plan out your next move, which is going to be where we are going to end tonight.
Oh, way to end on a high note. God damn, that was good.
Good stuff. Good
Very,
stuff.
very good session, guys. I had a lot of fun. I hope everyone watching did too. Calvadrin, thank you so much for the Prime. I appreciate that so much. We're gonna start. I'm gonna create a ticker somewhere, I think, for Death of a Character Fund to be able to furnish the portrait of a new character once there might be a party death or two. So we'll see. It's always good to have some funds and reserves to commission new drawings made of these characters, but nobody in the party's gonna die. Obviously, that's not something that happens here. Just saying. But anyway, we appreciate you guys sticking around and listening in. It's awesome to see us in the double digits consistently, and everyone's putting. Okay, this run is not cursed. This was a good session, guys. It is not cursed. But in any case, oh boy, everyone's doing it.
Oh, that last one was blessed.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, very good, man. I appreciate you made it by. And I'm sure you stick to a schedule too, but I'm glad you were able to make it on yours. I am going to start setting up a raid to, let's see if he's streaming. This is a friend of the tavern, which if you haven't been there already, the tavern is a great group on Facebook that I have the link to offhand that I am going to post in chat once I stop stalling and talking. I am going to obviously very much post this into chat so everyone here can join and be part of a great community sharing D&D memes and all the like. Let's see, the person I had in mind I don't think is streaming at the moment. Let's see. I think he ended early, but I'm going to send you over to my good friend Andy. We have many Andys here. One in character, one out of character playing Lek, and then my buddy who's streaming at the moment. But I appreciate everyone for coming and hanging out. Thanks again for the Prime. And we are Ice Sticks. Icy Sticks. Is that another tavern streamer?
Not that I know of.
Who is Ixie Six? I don't know. Recognize her. But since we have a suggestion, we'll go ahead and do that and say hello and give a warm greeting. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good rest of your day and your night, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye.
See ya.
Later, y'all.
Night, everybody.